We good? I'd like to call the meeting to order here for September 28th, the Economic Development Committee. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure.
We're going to have roll call, please.
All right, roll. Emily Warren.
Here.
Scott Bell.
Here.
Joe Barry.
Here.
Myself, Dave Beethold.
Here.
John.
I'm present. So
Kelly Stillman.
Here.
Mr. Wizawadi's here.
Present.
Jason Dravitt.
Here.
And Mr. Aurelio.
I am here.
And Sergio is not.
Very good.
Thank you. We have on the agenda tonight the approval of the minutes for August 24th, 2022. And hopefully you all have read them. And please review them again for a minute, and I'd like to have a motion to approve minutes
I'll make
when we're ready. Has everybody read them? Yeah? Okay. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes
I'll second. Go ahead.
from August 24th, 2022.
Very good. May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Thank you. Okay, we had the pleasure of, and Dave and I went to the workshop that they held here last week. Yeah, they brought in Mrs. Gerhardt Fritz to go through city planning and things like that. It was very informative, and she was a certified city planner. Very, very informative. Even on, we took something out of that, even on how our committee should act with the residents in town and what's appropriate to be said and not in meetings. It was very, very informative. And she talked a little bit about our fiduciary duties on and being responsible to the town, not our personal interests, but to the town and the better development of the town. So it was a really, thank you, Town Board and Joe, for getting those folks in here. It was very, very informative, and I think it went a long way with the RDC too. So thank you for that. Did you want to comment on that, Dave? Because you were at the meeting too. It was very good.
Yeah, I thought it was informative. I thought it was enlightening. I learned a little bit more about comprehensive planning and in some of the stages of that. So yeah, I mean, it was, for me, it was it brought me some questions.
Yeah. So
Were there any takeaways from that that would be for those of us who didn't have the opportunity to attend? Or were there any takeaways that for us to be doing differently, or like lessons learned?
I think the biggest thing that I took away from it was ethics, and not talking to people or as a group here, or two or three people, outside the boundary of this actual meeting, so that there's just no hint of some type of impropriety or ethics violation. So that's what I took out of it.
yeah, and I agree with that. We have to be very careful to on what we're saying, and we're saying correctly to because we all have people in it come to us in the streets and say, hey, what about this project or that project? And we all have had that. So we will review that, and we'll go through some of those things on this committee just again to do that. Now, Sergio mentioned to me last week that he may have a speaker that would like to come and talk to us, maybe in October. I have to, we still have a little bit of funding left in our committee, and I was going to see with Joe and Mike and make sure that it was okay that go on Sergio's recommendation here. I think it we'll pass that on to see if we can get that to materialize, but we'll get somebody in here to kind of do a study session at our next meeting in October. And just remember, there are no meetings for November and December because of Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday, and so all that being concerned. What I'd like to do then is see if there's any new business, and then also have a report. Maybe Joe can help us with what Robinson is, any more updates on 93rd project, and then also maybe you want to talk about the what we were talking about before. So maybe you want to speak to that now?
Yeah, sure. So I know we had the meeting with all the parties that were here, training, professional development, if you will. It was very enlightening in terms of how things should be run, stuff like that. So it was very informative to a lot of the members here. So I'm glad that whoever could be here was here. One of the things that obviously they were talking about was comprehensive plan, because what kind of drives a community is the planning that you put into your community. So your comprehensive plan, typically those are updated every 10 years or so. The one we have was done back in, I believe 2017. And I think that was an update from the 2014 plan. So moving up to updating that comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan is updated by your planning commission. So your plan commission does the comprehensive plan updates. But with that said, that doesn't mean that other plans can't be included as part of that comprehensive plan. So one of the things that Sergio and I were talking about is doing proper studies for economic development. The 2017 plan really doesn't have a whole lot of planning for economic development. One of the areas we really want to take a good look at is obviously the 41 corridor in terms of, what that's going to look like in terms of a commercial and or light industrial developments along those areas. As you know, some of the existing uses date back to, long before any of us were here. And we're not looking to make any changes to those existing uses, but obviously a plan that like this, we can say this is a better fit for some of these areas that, are having issues finding tenants. I'm not going to say a specific property, but we all know who we're talking about on 41. So we can address those in terms of getting a proper plan done. So what I'd like to do, and Sergio and I are both of the mindset to get this kind of going and have EDC kind of spearhead this thing, is to have a study on the 41 corridor in terms of land use, in terms of proposed, development, that kind of thing. So that's kind of what we want to do. And what I'd like to do is probably engage 2 or 3 different planning organizations to come out, make a presentation, and provide the town council with a proposal for that. But I think it's important you kind of meet, not just only, get the proposal, but kind of meet them so you can kind of get a feel how they're going to work with you.
Sure.
So, and that way you can ask questions and interview that whole process.
So the town's intention is to get 2 or 3 people to submit these plans to you?
Right. So the
For updating?
right. So we would
Okay.
put out a request for proposals, with respect to what we're looking for. So the scope would all be the same regardless of who we decide to use. But this is what we're looking for them to do, and
Want
give us a price.
to review the old plan? Because I do have a copy of that.
Well, I mean, obviously, take a look at the comprehensive plan. But again, a lot of those elements are probably not
Not current.
Yeah, not current. So this plan obviously would be adopted as part of a new comprehensive plan. So we want to get the components together for the comprehensive plan, because this way we're weighing in on, you know, future development and future planning for the town.
Gonna have that ready for January? About then, or you gonna do it before
I'm
then?
hoping we can get it done before then. So I'm hoping we can get,
Because we don't meet in November, December, this
oh,
committee.
oh. Well, then, yeah, we'll have to get it ready for January then.
Well.
It'd be a good
because-
kickoff.
Because of Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, and
We
it,
could still meet with planning, you know, select some of us, you know,
Yep.
if need be, and present some sort of a, because we have the riverfront,
Yep,
you
Yeah.
know, part of that whole corridor, and some of the newly included.
and if we need to, you know, have a special meeting, we can call a special meeting, you know, so that way we can do that process. And maybe it's a good thing you don't have anything scheduled for those 2 months, because it'll help us get stuff, you know, started
In
with
order.
that. Yeah.
okay, good. Can you also comment on where we're at? Last time we were talking on 93rd, that the corner there is possibly in February, and you'll have that done, and then work starting in the spring. Is that still on
So-
the schedule for that, or?
So what we're looking at right now is they're looking at getting the project out to bid this winter. Obviously, there's going to be some utility conflicts. So NIPSCO, water department's going to have to move lines and stuff like that. So there's going to be some movement of utilities out of the easement. There's also some logistics with right-of-way that need to be settled as well. So the hope is to have everything started and running by spring to get that project done. Yeah.
And will the old bank on the corner be gone? So we got turn lane?
That's a good question. As it stands right now, that's not part of the development, is acquiring that property. But I think that property obviously needs to be addressed at some point. So those conversations will be happening with staff to get that done.
All right. Any other questions here for Joe? No?
And just a quick update on the 41 conflict.
Yep.
So they should be wrapping that up. I know that they were out there milling part of the pavement. So the conflicts have been resolved, the culvert's in. It's all right now up to Milestone to get that repaved and then striped, and they're done. So hopefully 2 weeks, they'll be out of here.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I know that town will like that.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you. Can our committee draft a letter to send to the owners of the Kmart property? And can we get with the town to kind of push that along a little bit? Coming from economic development, your office, and
I'm a step ahead of you on that.
good.
So last week, someone decided they wanted to park some trailers there. The owner of the property did not know that.
Yeah.
So they're gone. Also, some of the staging and all of that other stuff, they're going to have to get out of there. So we are going to have a call with them to get that area cleaned up, because that, first of all, I'm not sure how that all started or why it started, but if they're leasing land, it's not a use for that property, is to store hazardous materials on that property. So I've got some serious issues with whoever they allowed to do that, because it shouldn't have been allowed. So we've been talking to legal, but more importantly, we've engaged the owner, who's willing to get things cleaned up over there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
What
I
are
know-
the owner of Kmart, what's his hope or plan for that? Is he just hoping to lease it out? I've heard they've been.
I don't know what
offered-
I don't know what his intention is. I've had a conversation with the gentleman, and asked him what his plans were with that, and there was really no specific plan, but he's open to selling.
Okay, because I had heard he wasn't open to selling before,
Well,
right? Or was
well,
it-
of course, the price has got to be right too. So,
Okay.
Well, when we talked with him a few years back, he wanted a 25-year lease and a major tenant, but the footprint is not big enough for that. And then he agreed that if the light was gonna be put in, which it is now,
Right.
that he could develop the outlots and then do something with the building.
Right.
So my intention is at least to come from this committee as a whole and the town council and Joe's office that, you know, we'd put a little more pressure on that because every resident in town is going, what are you guys doing?
I
You
mean,
know,
how
and
long
it's-
has it been?
Right, it looks
Well,
horrible,
and-
and the moment
and-
I saw the trailers that were parked out there, I immediately initiated the conversations with,
Right.
with staff.
Right.
Why are these there?
Right.
What's going on? And then I reached out to, you know, the guy and said, hey, this can't, he's like, he didn't even know. I was like, really? Okay,
Righty then.
yeah. So, I just want to let I know I mentioned something earlier about the 41 conflict. So the plan right now is to pave everything at night the week of October 10th. They should have everything open to traffic the following week.
Okay.
Mid-October.
All right, very good. Thank you very much for that update, and I know the residents will, they watch this, they'll get the correct information instead of the rumor mill that goes around town. So, reports and correspondence. Joe? Kelly?
No.
You got free money at the bank down there?
Not yet.
No?
You keep asking, though. You keep asking.
Did they raise rates that they're paying?
A little bit. A little bit. No pressure, though.
Right.
Emily?
Nope.
Nope. Mr. Godoy?
I actually have a letter out to Woodman's.
Okay.
Woodman's is a company similar to Costco, based out of Wisconsin. Their footprint currently is only in Wisconsin and the northern part of Illinois. There's a few stores in Illinois.
Yeah.
And they may be interested in moving further south into Indiana, depending on how their success is in Illinois.
We
But-
probably have better success here.
We probably would. You know, the problem is logistics.
Yeah.
Getting their product here is the furthest reach, or would be the furthest reach logistically. So, but it's a good, you know, company to start talks with.
What kind of business is that?
It's almost like Costco.
Oh, at Costco, you
it's like
said
a
that.
wholesale
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Are you familiar with them too, Dave?
I am. We do some business with them.
Oh, okay, good. Very good.
The only thing I have is, as part of the Parks Advisory Committee, the Economic Development Committee will be happy to know that the Freedom Fest is no longer your problem. It will be the parks.
Only partially.
Yeah.
Only
partially. It'll be headed up by the Parks
Good.
Advisory, but as anything happens, we'll need the Economic Development Committee's ways and means of doing some of the practices, because we'll have to pick up on the sponsorships, we'll have to do some of these other things. So you guys aren't gonna be unscathed, but you won't have the burden.
work, yeah.
Right, so I mean, but yeah, we're gonna probably have to get with Kelly and Emily and get some of that information out.
And I did receive, not to interrupt you, but did receive from some of the vendors that want to come back for next year. So we'll pass that along. to
Right, so
Parks.
we're gonna, any correspondence or information
Yeah.
that you guys can put together would be much appreciated, so, because at this point in time, I believe we have someone that's interested in spearheading it from our committee.
Beautiful.
So if that's in fact true, then, if we don't lay that much on her and she has some information to start with, I think that would go a long way. So, and part of that would be talking to Cindy and getting some of her feedback and some of that, so.
And the committee will
Right.
assist to try to launch that too, so.
So, yeah, that's really all I've got.
No,
Good.
nothing for me.
Mike,
So-
report from town council.
Yeah, I would love to add to what Dave had to say. Yeah, at our Parks Committee meeting yesterday, their ask, or kind of what was discussed, is if you would assist with the sponsorships. You know, the Parks Committee will do the lifting of putting that together, and you guys kind of blazed a trail here with a lot of the vendors. And also important to know, they picked a date, July 3rd yesterday. So that will be the date, July 3rd.
It's a Monday.
The Monday, yeah, so, but they would be grateful for your assistance with donations and getting donors. And also, there's more of a, and I think, again, you guys help blaze the trail on a few of these items, that they are much more aggressive at having several different events, like band events with Malt Brothers. I think we had one of those last year. It looks like they might have 5. So, is it possible to get, to not just get donors for, or at least consider donors for Freedom Fest, but we have Christmas in the Park coming up. I don't, and then all the other ones in summer. So, wouldn't it be nice if our committee was able to make it cost neutral to the taxpayer, these kind of things, or at least go in that direction, right? Wouldn't that be a great goal? So.
And to add to Mike's point, I'm more than happy to work between the two committees and try to liaison between, so we can pass that information without,
Good.
getting too many other people trying to get their
2 cents in.
Yeah, well, but I mean, just, I can direct what we talk about here and vice
Right.
versa, so that.
Stuff that worked, the stuff that didn't work, all
Correct.
that fun
Correct.
stuff, yeah.
Correct. So-
Yeah.
Well, we certainly got plenty of info, and
Right.
the ladies did such an amazing
They did.
job.
They did.
And you guys did a lot of that hard work.
So you're honorary members now of the Parks Advisory Committee.
There you go. See how that worked, girl?
We donated, we recommended, or we pledged no more than 40 hours of each of your time.
That's right.
At these events. It'd be no problem, right?
For 6 months each.
For 6 months, right? So one other idea, I wanted to float this past to you guys and ladies. We're going to start getting more, thankfully, more new businesses coming in town. I know of 2 that are either coming soon or just opened in the last month or so. What is your thoughts of kind of bringing them in and honoring them, kind of showcasing them in some way, in having a mechanism to reach out to them? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, we can spotlight them here in town. Maybe everyone get one of them in here. What do you think of that idea?
Well, for me, I think that's a great idea, and also this committee or members from it, along with town council and town management, and grand openings too. To kind of show support,
Yes.
cut the ribbon, and and welcome them that way. But yeah, let's march them in here and let's try to do that.
Kelly, do they do like a business after hours event, stuff like that with the chamber?
I'm not involved with the chamber too much. I'd have to ask
Yeah.
to see if they do still. They did at
Yeah.
one time. I know
'Cause
that we
I
did
mean,
that.
those events are nice because they kind of bring a lot of the business community together. Maybe if they don't, maybe that's something, I don't want to step on the chamber's toes at all.
Oh, because I imagine they do ribbon cutting still.
Yeah.
But I can ask if they do business after hours too.
Yeah, because that would be nice if they did, because
Yeah.
those are always fun.
Yeah, maybe appoint somebody to be the lead person to kind of get in touch with the clerk treasurer or whoever, I would imagine it's them, to know who applies for a new business license and just kind of be on top of that. And then our wonderful facade program, which has been super successful, cutting costs within the program, or saving money within the program. What would your thoughts be, maybe to just, sometimes you got to sell the idea to somebody, but they don't know, they're afraid of government. Small business guys are, sometimes that's the way, and maybe they think it's too good to be true. Maybe use a committee and maybe identify somebody who would be a good target for that and kind of present our wares to them to get it off the ground. Because really what we're after here is to beautify our town, right? And maybe to help that program get off the ground. What do you think of that idea?
You mean market it?
Yeah, and maybe the form of that would be to just, you can, select 2 people or however you want to do it. Just go out and look who's deserving and knock on the door and say, hey, did you know about this? And, hey, and, be the,
How about our
do some cold
coffee
calling.
cabinet?
Take some free money.
Right, you're interested.
That coffee cabin that's going to come,
Bigsby?
whatever it's,
Big
in
C
Center
or
Bank,
whatever,
the old
yeah.
bank.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
How has it been marketed in the past, the program?
It hasn't.
Isn't it? I don't think it has.
Who's in charge
Oh,
of
okay.
that? So they come to our committee to get approved
I've
for
been-
the facade?
Well, they have to
Rebate?
get the application from Joe's office, but
Okay.
it,
Yeah, I've been
Is it-
talking to business owners that I
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
it's, you know, they're interested, but, you know, we don't get any traction after that.
And is it simply like, hey, the town will pay for a new facade? Is that,
There
or
is,
is it
Well,
more
there's
complex than that?
parameters.
yeah, we have,
Parameters.
it's a
Okay.
whole process, we have outlined it in a protocol. We have all kinds of paperwork, and actually,
Alright.
that might be something, I know we had an online, yeah, and Jason's going there now. We had an online version of it, but perhaps we need a physical, it doesn't have to be,
So I can
a-
explain my experience with it. So in Griffith has the same thing, right? Now, our business is in Griffith. And it, you know, and I'm sure it existed for years, but it took somebody to actually come over to us and explain, hey, we have this available. And even at first, I'm like, it just sounds too good to be true. And then, right, a business guy generally thinks, I gotta deal with government, they're a pain in my neck, right? And I know the red tape's not worth it. But it's really, you know, if you had somebody there to walk them through the process, and, you know, there isn't much red tape, but I think that's, you know, at least that, I know that's a popular view of government, right, from the business. I don't want the red tape, so for a few $1,000s. But if it's easy,
here's the other
they
page.
walk
You know, we did it in Hammond a number of years ago, and it wasn't, I mean, you filled out an application, I think you paid for all your work, and they reimbursed you, I think it was 50% at the time, up to a certain number.
That's right.
And it wasn't that difficult.
it was
I mean,
a piece of cake,
Very easy.
right?
Right.
It was so, and I had the same experience in Griffith, it was a piece of cake.
I forget
Yeah, it was great.
how we learned of the program. Maybe it was through the chamber, I forget, but.
so what we really need is, I mean, I know that, I've tried to look here online before, we probably need a more visible, more prominent hot link for businesses to see it, so it jumps out on them when they're on our website, looking at something that a business would look at in town. Make sure that it's pretty prominent, bold, so they can, you know, depress the hot link. Then it'll bring up what we're seeing now. I think we could also use just physical stock with this information on it, town letterhead, you know, maybe 5 or 6 per board member. And then we could, when we approach different business owners that we know, something we could hand to them so they could have it, refer to it, you know the key points. We don't even need the whole application or anything, just the key points and what they need to do if they want to be part of that process.
Yeah.
What about for the new businesses that you just, when they come in for the license, you give them something?
It's a little bit different.
What'd you say they were?
I mean, you say this is something that we're offering. I mean,
Well, this is
You
for
were-
existing businesses.
but that's what he was saying for
That's
the
a
new
great question.
businesses that come in.
Business, is a facade program for new business as well, if they're remodeling? I don't think it's for new construction, if they're remodeling an existing,
Yes.
for a new business.
I would say yes.
So-
That's
Yeah,
what
that
it's
would
kinda
be-
geared
so Then we have
for,
a
right?
couple of those good targets, we would, you know, that
Yeah.
are, yeah, so, great question.
Isn't that who it's kind of designed for, an existing business with an old facade that wants to kind of
Yep.
just update the,
Well, I think both, right? Those,
Both.
and then an old building that got a new, you know, a new.
Tenant?
Oh, a new tenant,
And they
okay.
want to, you know, right, and
Okay.
they can make it nicer, right? They're gonna, you know,
You know, there are a few I could
Or
think of
use
off,
tough.
right off bat that, you know, we had a business, we had a electric company that was kind of behind McDonald's. They left as a tenant, went to a different community. It was taken over by someone who actually painted it, replaced some signage on the outside. They could have benefited from this.
Yeah.
Are there any buildings in town who have taken advantage of the program already?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
Not
I'm
since
not
I've
We
been
just
here.
got it launched like last year.
Okay, all right. That's helpful.
And then we got into Summerfest and
Yeah, yeah.
or Freedom
No,
Fest.
if somebody pulled you guys into Freedom Fest, that was Jason.
Real quick, if I may, so, speaking of ribbon cuttings, Katie's Spotlight Dance Academy, which is at 8385 Wicker Avenue, Suite 3, will be having a ribbon cutting on October 5th at 4:30. So if you can attend, please do so.
Can you send out a reminder email?
I will send that to everyone, yes.
Yep, thank you.
Mhm.
And that's October 5th?
October 5th at 4:30.
5th, 4:30. And what's the name? Dance?
It's Katie's Spotlight Dance Academy.
Where is that at?
at 85, or excuse me, 8385
Across from
Wicker.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the chamber does do after hours. Actually having one in October.
Oh, good. Who's having it?
I don't know, I'm fine. Oh, White Rhino.
Oh, cool. I'll be there. I get free points, so I'm like, yeah.
All righty.
That's all I have.
That's all you have? Jason, you got anything for us that we should be aware of, or? No? No, we're all good, so, okay. Can I have a
Motion to adjourn?
motion to